My guest today is another young new real estate agent that is making moves in the industry. Go check him out on YouTube, Instagram. He's got a lot of good content. With me today, I've got Joshua Rebu. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's really like a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, dude. So it's funny how our paths kind of crossed. And I want to kind of tell your story of how you got into the business as a new agent, some of the struggles, and then how we ended up finding each other and the work you're doing now. But what happened was someone on my team shot me one of your YouTube videos and was like, "Hey, dude,
Awesome.
this guy's running our play. He's doing really good things." And I checked out that video. I'm like, "Wow, he's doing great." And then come to find out you were in our course. So walk us through how long you've been selling real estate and what market are you in?
So I'm here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And then also like the surrounding areas. I got licensed November 10th, 2020, I think. So coming up in about 4 months or so. Um, yeah, like I was in your course. I think I started your course in sometime like in October. Yeah,
Okay, so you started my course before you even licensed.
yeah, yeah.
Good for you. I love it. I love it.
Thanks.
So right from the get-go, you started learning this strategy. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but potentially um, got you down this path, which seems to be working in your business of like the whole reverse selling, not pressuring people, going out there and building relationships instead of trying to pressure them into listing their home. Is that
Yeah.
true and accurate?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like from day one, I was using your scripts and I was cold calling, going on preview appointments. Uh, you know, like I've definitely improved and now like I've learned, how to like actually connect with people and I value relationships over transactions more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. That's a little Ricky Caruth line. I love it. I love it. So when you were getting into the business, I think one of the biggest challenges, and I want to hear it from you, but in my experience, are all these voices, right? Joshua, do this, do that, do this, social media, prospect, buy leads, do open houses, door knock. How was that getting into the business? You're in your first full year into the business. Is it overwhelming? And how are you able to like stay focused?
Um, it is overwhelming, so it's like when I joined my brokerage and like understand like they were trying to help, but they're like, you should try open houses, you should try door knocking, but you should also do cold calling. And then on top of that, you should do these other things. I even had somebody tell me prospecting FSBOs is a waste of your time. You should stop it. The next day, I go out to a preview and I signed him at the preview. Um, so I think learning to focus on one thing is definitely something that has helped. Before I even got licensed, I knew I want to do cold calling. Um, I didn't exactly know how to go about it, but I just knew that I was going to stick to cold calling and like I was going to make it work.
I love it. I love it. And the thing is, if newer a bunch of new agents are going to watch this and experienced agents, the thing is, the word cold calling has like this negative connotation towards it.
Yeah,
I believe that prospecting, making an outbound prospecting phone call to an expired or for sale by owner or an absentee owner or a probate or I don't know that I would classify that as cold calling as I would like literally calling random people through random neighborhoods like circle prospecting. I think
right.
that's straight cold calling. But when you call a prospect who has their hand in the sky and says, "I am selling my house,"
Yeah,
well, you're in the business of selling real estate. So I have the stance, Joshua, that calling a for sale by owner or prospecting is not the same as cold calling. But I do want to have a conversation because how old are you?
I'm 19.
You're 19, and the power of social media is real. However, I want to have this discussion around you've decided to focus on prospecting versus maybe going the paid traffic or the social media route. Let's walk through why, because I think this will be a powerful conversation for people because you're able to pick up the phone
Yeah,
and control how many people you talk to versus waiting. So let's have the conversation around prospecting versus marketing and kind of just your philosophy on those.
sure. So, once I got licensed, I knew I need I need like some now business for sure. I think social media, I think all that marketing stuff, I think it definitely works. And it's definitely something that I want to implement in my business, maybe like a few years down the road. But I knew that going into it, I need something that is proven to work that I can see results, fairly quickly. So calling was like, that was kind of like the obvious choice.
Yeah.
Um, as far as like social media goes, I haven't been very active on there besides YouTube. But like that's almost like its whole,
Yeah.
like its whole
Well,
identity.
yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, do you believe? So here's my position on it: is all the marketers, right, that are screaming from the mountaintops, like, "Oh, cold calling, prospecting, that's old school, doesn't work. Do this thing." That most of them don't sell real estate. Like all the people that run ads on my YouTube channel talking crap about, my
Mhm.
strategies, they don't even sell real estate. They're
Yeah, I've seen
selling
that
a
too.
thing, right?
Yeah.
That's the funny thing because here's the reality. If you and I started cold calling right now on this interview, and maybe you and I will do that on another time, have some
Yeah.
fun with that. What the audience would see, Joshua, is you and I in the next 30 to 60 minutes probably having 8 to 10 conversations with real prospects that are actually selling their home, and we probably set 1, 2, maybe 3 appointments in
Yeah.
60 minutes, and oh, by the way, all for free. And
Exactly.
so there's no marketing thing that in 60 minutes from now we could get those same results that I know of. Would you agree with that conceptually?
I would agree. Yeah, absolutely.
And so why is it that you think so many people still take the stance of like, oh, that type of work is old school and it doesn't work when it is the most effective?
I think they just don't want to put in the work, to like actually improve at it. Social media, comes off as this easy thing. You put up a Facebook ad and you're going to get tons of leads coming in. If you spend $600 a month on on Zillow, so what? You just close one deal and it works out. Like it's never that easy. Cold calling is proven to work. I think people are just scared of it. Yeah.
Totally agree. I mean, well said. You're so well spoken and articulated, and
Thanks.
you have such a great future ahead of you. And I really, really mean that, by the way. I think
Thank you.
that you and I are going to do some stuff here in the future that will really, really be cool. But I would agree with you 100%. I think people naturally as humans are looking for the path of least resistance. There's no doubt that picking up the phone and calling strangers is the most difficult thing we can do in sales. It is the most effective. It's the most effective and the most difficult. So naturally, people are going to go a different direction. So let's talk about what were some of the things that when you thought about getting into real estate, what attracted you as a young hungry entrepreneur? What attracted you to get into real estate in the first place?
Um, so it's like I always wanted to start my own business, and like I had tried college out, for like a semester. I already knew that it wasn't for me. So while I was there, I started reading up on real estate a little bit, and it seemed like this perfect in between. It doesn't take a whole lot of money to get started. Doesn't take a whole lot of time to get started. Your income is unlimited, and you've got all of this support, from your brokers. You don't have to pay for, kind of like your own office, if you don't want to. Um, I just knew that it would take like a lot of work going into it. So getting into real estate just seemed very attractive because of the unlimited potential that it has, and and then also I could get to help people, and you can do it all, relatively quickly. Compared to like starting pretty much any other business.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, if you were going to go out there and start a Jimmy John's franchise, you'd have to have a
Yeah,
couple hundred grand and you'd have to have a brick and mortar and employees. And so
yeah.
that makes sense. The thing I want to talk about is our business does seem very sexy, very appealing to a lot of people because of what they think it is. And then when they get into it, they find out quickly it wasn't what they thought it was. Can we talk about that a little bit? Like what you thought before you were licensed and what it actually is today, and some of the key ahas or things that you wish you maybe knew before you got into this.
I knew that it wasn't as easy as it was on TV, but that being said, I've learned I definitely should have saved up more money. People are not trustworthy. You can't really rely on what somebody says, especially a prospect. They'll say, "Oh yeah, like I'll list with you, like in 2 weeks." Two
Yep.
weeks comes, I don't want to, I don't want to sell my home anymore. Um, I think before I even got licensed, I already kind of had like my expectations in check. Like I know that I needed to be lead generating every single day. Maybe if I hadn't done all that kind of research beforehand, I think getting licensed and then figuring out, oh, now I actually have to go out there and get business. I think that really shocks a whole lot of people. Um, yeah,
Because they I agree. Again, I mean, it's amazing your mindset because what you're saying is most people get into business without doing the research that you've done, and they find out later. Wait a minute, I don't just people just don't call you like,
yeah,
right? Is that's kind of what you're talking about? Is that right?
yeah. I mean, I'm like I've talked to a lot of people. They like message me like I'm interested in getting into real estate. What's it like? And I tell them you got to prospect every single day, and you gotta, you have to find a way that you like to generate business. You got to stick to it. And they're like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Why? I've got so many questions for you because it's intriguing, like your mindset on this. Like, where did that come from? How did you know? Like, I'm curious. Like, you do what most agents don't do. Like, you research. You got in the business. You had a coach. You were in relationship with me through my online training course
yeah.
before you were licensed. How did you come to these decisions to take those actions before getting in the business where 99% of the people getting in this industry do the exact opposite?
It was. I mean, I won't lie. Like, it was a whole lot of YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So like after high school, I'm like I was working construction, and at the same time, like I was getting my real estate license. So I would always have like a YouTube video playing. It was always talking about prospecting or some kind of lead generation. And then I figured out, if I'm really going to succeed at this, why waste time trying to figure out every little thing myself when I can literally just learn from someone who's already done it? So I think I found your videos from another YouTuber who had mentioned you, and then I started watching your videos. I'm like, this guy seems like the perfect coach. I'm naturally not, I mean, like I'm not naturally like a salesy person. I'm not really pushy, so it's like your program really seemed like the perfect fit.
Cool. And thank you for that. I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming, well, what was what attracted you to what it is that I teach? Because there's a lot of voices out there on YouTube in our space, right? And a lot of people are telling you to do all these different things. What was it specifically about what I was saying that attracted you to this model?
So I think it was mainly how you come off as no pressure, you know, e- and like even if like you don't get the deal, I mean like at least like you met with that seller and like you built like a relationship with them. I really liked that. I don't want to be this pushy, annoying, car salesman type kind of person.
Yeah.
Um, and and like in your videos, you just seemed like you were generally there to help people, and I feel like that really stuck with me.
Yeah, yeah, it makes a ton of sense. I mean, and are you finding that? So let's kind of go behind the curtain a little bit and talk about your business now.
Okay.
So you're putting this into action. You're a brand new agent. How what are the biggest challenges that you're facing right now? And then I want to talk about how you're using this approach that we're talking about in action. But what are you finding the biggest struggles are right now as a new agent?
The biggest struggle is really not having like enough people to call. I mean,
Yeah,
because I mainly just call for sale by owners, they're all selling on their own. Um, and there's maybe, two or three every single day. Also, paying like for lead generation. If I was able to do that, I feel like I'd be like a little bit, further down the road for sure.
Meaning what? Like when you pay for lead generation from like what leads would you buy? To give me an example.
Expireds, maybe I'd try circle prospecting.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
So you're not meaning like buy Zillow and buyer leads. You're talking about investing into a prospecting platform like a Vulcan 7 or like a Red X. Is
Yeah.
that what you meant?
Yeah. So it's like when I first got licensed, like I had tried Red X out, but I was just calling for sale by owners, which now
Yeah.
I can just do for free off of Zillow.
Got
Um,
it.
yeah. So
So are you is that what you do? You just get all your FSBO leads from Zillow? You're not on a prospecting platform right now?
yeah, exactly. So I have like this 14 by 11 sheet every morning. It's got their name, address, phone number, email if I get it, and like the price of their home and then some notes. Yeah, so like I go there, I go on Zillow, find all the new for sale by owners, put them down, and then I give them a call, and then I just put them into my CRM.
And that's from like budget restraints as just being a new agent, like from an affordability standpoint. Is that right?
I think so, but it's also because I don't see myself paying for any kind of for sale by owner data when I can get it for free off Zillow.
Yeah.
I'm naturally like a I'm naturally like a budget friendly kind of person. So yeah,
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. Well, I'm going to throw this out there to you because I think this will be a good first step. I would be happy to pay for your Vulcan 7 platform because of the targeted leads on there and their dialer and their lead follow-up system and all that stuff. If you used it, I would
I would
buy you
appreciate
and
that.
pay for your Vulcan 7 subscription because that's how much I believe in you.
I appreciate that a lot. Thanks.
Would you use it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Dude, I'm serious. I am dead serious.
yeah, yeah. I will.
All right.
For sale by owners, expires for rent by owners. Yeah.
All that absentee owners, their new GeoLead their new GeoLead system inside there is incredible. They just up their lead game again, and
Hmm.
so all the cell phones, emails, the lead quality is amazing. So we'll talk about that off air.
Okay.
So let's talk about your strategy. So you're calling for sale by owners off Zillow. Talk to us about the approach in that first conversation that allows you to get face to face.
Yeah. So like on that first conversation on the phone with them, my goal is just to set a preview appointment. Uh, you know, so I'll introduce myself, tell them why I'm calling. I'll ask like a few qualifying questions, and then I'll just get to the meat of it. I'll ask them, 30 to 60 days go by, and at that time you're not able to sell. At that point, would you consider working with an agent? Sort of as a backup option. If they say yes, then I'm like, okay, great. I'll be in your area. When would be a good time to stop by? Um, I feel like that's been really effective, but the way that the market is, all these I mean, pretty much like everybody's selling on their own. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's not always going to be that way. Like that's what's so cool is this new strategy that you're learning. Once the market shifts a little bit, like you're going to find that like you are becoming a listing agent machine because they don't
Mhm.
all that's right, they don't all sell on their own forever. And so
Mhm.
this same strategy works with absentee owners, for rent by owners, expireds, probates, the whole kit and caboodle. So a lot of people are teaching Joshua new agents to call a for sale by owner and start trying to convince them to list their home with them on the first call. Have you tried that methodology, and how effective is it?
I have tried it. There are times when I won't, be setting like enough preview appointments. I'm like, you know what? Let me just try and like just list them over the phone. It never works ever. Yeah,
Because you get into conflict, right? And so they start
exactly.
pushing back, and then you start trying to overcome the objection. And now you're getting right into that old school sales philosophy of like this push and pull relationship between the prospect. And
Right.
so that's probably what you've experienced. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, like when I use your script versus somebody else's, um, I get like a lot less, pushback like with your kind of scripts.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're using FSBO Script 2.0, correct?
Yep. Yep.
And that script, like that little role play you just did, Joshua nailed it. And this is, you guys should go watch him on YouTube. It's phenomenal. When you make your live calls, the question's very simple. It's Joshua, listen, with the market being the way that it is, chances are you're going to sell on your own. I'm curious if in 30 days you don't sell. At that point, would you consider potentially working with a realtor? In your experience, do most FSBOs, are most of them open to that idea?
Yeah, it's actually like a surprising amount. I
Yep.
think when I first started calling, I was surprised at how many people would be like, "Yeah, I would be open to that." And if they don't say that, then it's like, "Well, you know, I really don't think that I'll get to that point." I'm like, "Yeah, just like hypothetically, just as a
That's right.
backup option." Then they're like, "Well, yeah, yeah, I guess so."
That's right. And so, all right, cool. So then when you go to the house, what's your strategy when you go meet them at that first preview appointment? Are you trying to like bait and switch them and then go hard sell them, or what does that appointment look like?
Um, I'm like I only bring up, listing, like towards the end, like after I've already provided them value, and like it's never, pushy, right? So I'll get there. I'll ask him, hey, do you need me do you need me to like take off my shoes? And then we go tour the home, and then after that, I'm like, you've got a great home. Would you mind if I just shared some notes with you? And then I give them like some feedback, and there's a little ad. And then I teach them like a little bit, like here's like what the market looks like right now. Do you know this? And then, do you have like a seller's property condition disclosure? I always ask that. A surprising amount of for sale by owners don't even know. And then after that, I say, I'm sure you have no problem selling this on your own. You know, if there ever comes a time that like, you're thinking about listing, here's what I can do for you. And then I pull out my for sale by owner backup plan. And they're usually, pretty welcoming about it. Like I've never had like any negative feedback there.
That's great. So that's, I mean, how you just positioned that was perfect. It's ideal how we teach it. And so you're finding that through that strategy, people are open to having the conversation because, to your point earlier, you're talking about a hypothetical situation. We're not putting them on the spot. And
Exactly.
then the magic happens. I'm curious if this has happened to you yet. And if not, maybe this is a coaching opportunity. When they are engaged with your FSBO backup plan presentation, when they say things like, wow, you do that, has that ever happened to you, and how do you respond to that, if it does?
I think that is a coaching opportunity. I've only had that happen one time, and that was at the preview. To like actually, I mean, I'm like I listed him like at the preview. I'm not exactly sure what I did different there, but he
Yeah.
was really intrigued with it. He's like, "Wow, tell me more." And like I was able to, to like actually push like the listing.
All right, so let me give you one thing to add into your appointments moving forward so that happens more often. So at the end of that value proposition presentation, so we'll role play it, and so at the end of that, let's just say we got done talking with the flexible compensation structure. You're going to add this to the end of that presentation. You say, Joshua, listen, I mean, again, I think you're on the right track here, but everything we talked about, this is not something that you would consider doing right now, is it?
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah,
Because if you're engaging with me and I'm talking about the Savvy Seller program and I'm saying, Joshua, listen, I mean, you don't care where the buyer comes from, only that the buyer pays you a premium. Whether you find them, I find them, or another agent finds them, you don't care. Is that right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
So it might make sense based on my Savvy Seller program. If you decided that we should work together, that's exactly what would happen. I try to find the buyer at the same time as you are. And if you do, you're incentivized for that. And
Yeah.
so if they're engaging with that, then we're going to ask that last question before we leave the preview. And we're going to say, well, let me just ask you, you know, based on everything we talked about, I mean, this is not something you'd consider doing now, is it? With an upswing at the end of there. And if
Okay.
they're like, well, I mean, I like that a lot, then you've got an opportunity, but that's how you identify them at the preview.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like maybe if I'd been doing that, I'd definitely have more listings by now. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, no worries. So then you leave, and as you're learning, or as you've probably experienced, the vast majority of your listing opportunities is going to come through follow up. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
So walk us through how you're staying in touch with your seller lead pipeline, and maybe some of the tactics and strategies you're using.
So, so like I've talked to like a few agents, kind of like in your program. Pretty much all that I do is like I go on the MLS and then like I set them up, like on MLS, like auto email for their area, and
Yep.
then every Monday like I give them like a follow up call. Then I say, hey, did you receive my last email? Check up on them. Have you gotten the offers? What's like the interest looking like on your property? Um, if like I noticed like they had like an open house, like over the weekend, I'll ask them, how was that open house? How'd that go? Did you have like a lot of families come through? Or like if they have like an open house scheduled, I'll say, do you need any flyers made? Do you need like any copies made? And then yeah.
I love it. I love it. And so from that point, obviously you're turning those into listings. What, now that you're kind of learning this new system, what is your goal? What's your goal for 2021? What do you think is possible for yourself?
Between real estate and then also like the YouTube channel, I'd like to make $100,000 like before tax. Yeah.
Love it, man. And are you on pace? Are you tracking towards that?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, right now I'm not.
Sure.
I'm not exactly sure if that's me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure like if it's because like all these like for sale by owners are selling on their own.
Yeah.
Maybe like that's something like we can talk about. Yeah.
That's sweet. And that's why I'm excited to work with you more hands-on and get deeper into your business, because I would love to do this again in early
Yeah.
2022 and we report to the world that you've exceeded that goal of making 100K your first year in the business. And so I would assume that if you hit 100K, that'd be the most you've ever earned in your life in 1 year. Is
Oh
that
yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Cool. I love it. I love it. So what advice would you give to a new real estate agent who maybe is working towards passing their exam, or is a brand new licensed real estate agent? Like, what advice would you give them? What would be the one thing that you would tell them that they have to know?
You have to figure out a way that like you want to prospect. Set up a daily schedule, and then I mean, like you just want to have like a set time every morning that you're going to be prospecting, and like you don't ever and and like you never like actually miss a day. Starting like even like before you get licensed, read up on prospecting, lead. Learn like all you can about lead generation, because that's like the biggest part in this business, really.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's great, great advice. I mean, Gary Keller said it. I mean, we are in the lead generation business. We just happen to have a license to sell homes. That's
Yeah.
period. And that's the thing. And I love that piece of advice, Joshua, because I would agree with you 100%. I mean, what I tell people, and just like you, people reach out, they want to get in the business. And I say, understand this: you are getting into the lead business. You know that, right? And then to your point, like you were saying off air, they're like, I don't understand. What does that mean? And so
Yeah.
that opens up the conversation, because do you believe that the industry is doing a good job setting good expectations with new licensees or not?
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, uh, yeah, no, no,
No, there's no way. I mean,
not at all.
because of all, there's a lot of different, driving factors that brokerages have and NAR has, and all these people that collect fees off realtors, whether or not they succeed in the business. But my goal is to really help people understand what this business is, what it is not, and help them win. And it comes down to your ability to play offense and go out there and generate business. So dude, I love this. This is just the start. I want to thank you for jumping on with me. I'm going to
Thanks
link
for
to
having
all
me.
Joshua's social media beneath this video, you guys. Go check him out on YouTube. Make sure you go subscribe to his channel. It's great content. Thanks for all the work that you're doing, man. Any last words of inspiration to leave to the audience?
Um, I mean, just prospect and you'll be fine.
That's right. It's real simple. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it. So, dude,
simple.
thank you so much, man. And looking forward to doing some more work with you in the future for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.